I bought a cannon. This is the Traditions Napoleon miniature cannon. It's a 50 caliber. It's so cool. So, it is a firing cannon. It shoots black powder. And the barrel's nickel plated. The chassis is a wood chassis. It feels like a very well constructed firearm. But I will say the cleaning rods on each side are a little bit flimsy. Not saying you couldn't use them, but there's no longevity in them. So I would recommend just using them as display pieces because they will break if you use them. At least I think. The level of detail on this gun is so cool. There we go. Okay, that was kind of funny. There it goes. There we go.
Now that fuse really goes.
Yeah.
Really see that stuff.
Okay, this is going to be a loud one. Well, it's deeper. If I had to make one complaint, is how you change the elevation. At the rear of the gun, there is this screw that engages right on the back of the barrel. And I think they put it at the wrong spot. So, if I can get this thing to stop rolling away from me. So right here is at its highest point. If you move the barrel up like that, this thing will come right out. Now, if they would have moved this thing just a little bit more forward so it'd be underneath the barrel, if it was up this far, the gun would be pointed about like that. So you wouldn't need as long of a screw to get your elevation. That's just one little complaint I have about this thing is I really don't like where they put it. I would have just put it a little bit more forward. And if I'm going to nitpick the wheels and the chassis, the proportions seem off to me. It's just me. I think the wheels should be out a little bit further and a little bit smaller, but that's just me. I just think they dwarf the gun just a little bit. But whenever I get a gun, there's always those little things that I don't like about it. And when I shoot the gun, I tend to forget about it. And the wheels, the wheels are something that I forgot about.
See if you can see where it hits this time.
And the lower this time. That was louder. You went above it.
If you want to take the barrel off for cleaning, this is something I ran into. To take the trunnion and the barrel off, you have to take this band off right here, and there's 5 screws. The reason why I don't recommend you do this is the screws are threaded right into the wood. So you do this a lot, you're going to open up those holes, and then it's not going to hold it on right. So, but I don't like that because I like being able to take the barrel off and clean the barrel separate from the gun, because black powder is very corrosive and you need to clean it. So I can't exactly leave it dirty, and I'd like to be able to take it off and clean it somewhere separate. But I'd recommend, if you don't mind the bulk, just clean it with it on there, because if you take those things out too many times, you may run into problems.
I don't know if we need hearing protection.
So I mentioned that this is a 50 caliber, and I don't actually have any 50 caliber balls. All I had was some 44 caliber balls that were .457 size. I found if you got the little cleaning patches, you would get them like with the first time cleaning kits that had the whole pre-cut patches on them. Well, anyways, if you got about 4 of those and packed them around the ball when you put it in, it was a pretty snug fit and stayed in there really well, and we had some moderate accuracy with it. But my favorite thing to do was to go into the berm and find 45 ACP bullets that were just sitting in the berm. That was the best. I don't recommend you do that, but if it wasn't mushroomed, it fit down the barrel really well, and I just put one of those little squares on it. and it seemed like it did the most amount of damage when it hit its target. So I tended to do that, and I loaded it a little bit hotter than they recommend. I was loading around 30 grains. I don't recommend you do that. This is such a cool display piece. I don't recommend you risking damaging it, because then you lose this cool display piece and fun range toy. So I don't recommend you do what I was doing, because it was dumb. But I had a lot of fun with it. Now, one thing I noticed is I've watched some videos about this gun and nobody mentioned the fuse. You want to get a 3mm fuse, a small little green fuse, and when you cut it, make sure it's a very even cut. If it's frayed at the bottom, you're going to have a hard time getting that into the touch hole. Alright, so this is what I'm doing. They recommend 20 grains, so I decided to disregard that and go to 30. Don't do that. But again, don't do this. Anything I'm doing. So I'm putting 20 grains. I don't know why in this flask I always have powder getting like hung up and then it comes out like that. So I got 30 grains of powder. And then you pour it down the barrel.
1 minute.
Okay. And then I have been shooting 44 caliber balls and using these cleaning patches to kind of fill in the space. But I found if you find the 45 ACP bullets in the berm, they work way better with just one patch. Don't do this.
I should make this a little quick because we only got so much time left.
Of course, this one, great. So sometimes there'll be a little boat at the back and it won't go in. So we're just going to use this one. Let's see how this one fits in. That one fits. Well, kind of. Alright, just stop it for a minute. I found one that's a little better shaped. And so you put that on the wad, shove it down. As you can see, it's a tight fit. Don't do this, guys. I'm an idiot. You want to make sure it's seated. And then, of course, I never bring the fuse with me. Ever. My brain doesn't work that way. Yeah. Okay.
We have very little time.
I got fuse now. And this fuse is a little bit tight in there. It's 3mm. Sometimes it helps if you cut the end so that it's even like that. I think that's good. Now we're gonna just light the match and aim it. Now this is supposed to adjust your elevation, but it doesn't go up far enough. So aim it. And try to be better with matches than I am, because I suck.
It's going.
No, it's not. Now it is. Like I said, these cleaning brushes are also ramrods. They're flimsy. I don't recommend using them for cleaning, and I definitely don't recommend them for ramming the ball down the barrel. So I recommend bringing your own ramrod if you are going to shoot this thing. Now, I think my favorite target that I shot with this thing was the Jenga tower. I put up this tower of Jenga, and it was so fun knocking it down. And since this thing doesn't seem to have the power to really break it. It deforms it, but it doesn't break the pieces. You could shoot this target forever and I think it would last. It was such a fun target to shoot. It's about my favorite thing I've ever taken out, and I could probably shoot this thing for years, and everyone at the range loved it. That's what I've noticed, is even the people that aren't hardcore gun people thought this was a cool gun. They thought it was a cool display piece, it looked like fun to shoot, and it was. Well, there's the hit right there, and they were sitting like this. I'm shooting the wrong caliber ball, so there's a good chance that it would do a little bit more force if it was tighter fitting.
That looked like a pretty good force that time.
Yeah, this is the Jenga boards after I shot it with a 45 caliber that I found out just laying around had a lot more force. Well, it missed. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was a lot of fun to shoot this thing. I want to do a whole series dedicated to this gun where I just shoot random targets with it. If you have any recommendations, put them down in the comments below. I want to do Lincoln Logs. I want to do Legos. Targets like that sound like fun with this gun. So if you guys like the idea of a whole series of the cannon versus objects, please put something down in the comments below. Oh, and I also am going to get into molding my own balls for black powder. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to like get 2 balls and mold them with a chain in them and see how well it would work. I just think that would be really cool. So a lot of fun ideas that I want to do with this cannon and a whole series dedicated to it if you guys are interested. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned. I got a lot of cool stuff coming up in the future.